What's next? The statement, I need more spiritual friends, is a lie. And what I mean by that is spiritual paths are always meandering, and everyone is on their own personal spiritual path. And spirituality is not a destination, it's a journey. And each of our personal journeys, we fall back, we go ahead, we find shortcuts, and then we find long, meandering paths far off the spiritual way. But that's how we learn, that's how we progress. The funny thing about being human is we learn best under a little bit of challenge and a little bit of stress. And I mean, that's why some of us have anxiety, is because it gives us a step up of the others, because we always have a little bit of stress in our lives. But the trick is to keep it under control. Always be aware of your anxiety, but keep it in check, and you'll be fine. So, I mean, when you say you don't have enough spiritual friends, you're really doing yourself a disservice. Now, yes, you can manifest your most perfect life with everything ideal, everything you want, everything you need, and then some good quality, couple of good quality friends who you can depend upon and talk to. And they can be in many different ways if you keep your eyes open. But you're also going to have people in your life who are not spiritual, but who are very, very important parts of your spiritual path. These people, your job is to not judge them, but to listen to them with compassion. Even if they say things that kind of go against your beliefs. They can be racist or prejudiced or misinformation. But if you listen with compassion, you'll hear what they have to say, you'll look at their point of view, and you'll use that to either firm up, solidify your own spiritual beliefs, or find a different way of seeing your own spiritual beliefs. And if they're your friends, they're going to be willing to listen, at least on some level. So if you have friends and they want to talk about some aspect of spirituality, and then they say, oh no, that's ridiculous, that doesn't make any sense. That's when you stop and you move on to something else. Because again, they're your friends and you're going to have some common thing to discuss. And that common subject will be a way to change your perspective and see things through their eyes. Now, you don't have to totally agree with them. All you're doing is just understanding from their perspective and seeing things from a new light. So that's why, quote, unspiritual people can be your best teachers. And there's a statement, when the student is ready, the master will come. And you don't know what form the master's in. And there are times when you're going to be the teacher, but they have to ask first, they have to ask the right questions. And you can't offer unsolicited information. You want to be unbiased, but you can't give them unsolicited information. They have to ask first before you give it to them, or just fall on deaf ears. On the other hand, they can also teach you, and then when you have a conversation with someone who's on a different spiritual path, maybe a religious right person, will start spouting about how if you're not saved by Jesus, you're spouting the devil, you're working with the devil. You just listen to them, because somewhere in their belief system is a truth. And it's hard to find sometimes. But if you listen with compassion, if you listen with an open heart, you're going to find that aspect of truth. And you're going to use that to talk to them on the same level. Once you have a common dialogue of, the blessings of Jesus Christ, the true Christ consciousness, Jesus Christ, you can move further along. And then when you say things that, well, there's no such thing as a devil The devil and demons are all made up. They're low entities that are used to scare us. It's a misrepresentation by the Christianity to scare their flock. A lot of that's going to be too much for them to hear. But some of it might stick. But as long as they're willing to listen and you have a common dialogue, you're fine. Once they stop listening and you have an argument, you have to stop the argument. You have to just let them spout, let them go, and you continue the compassionate dialogue. And even when you manifest your most perfect life with everyone who are idyllic in your life and you have no stress, everything's peaceful, no arguments, well, the spiritual path crosses many other paths. And those other paths are learning opportunities. Because that's part of being alive, is constantly learning. And you might be challenged. And sometimes those challenges might be too much. And at those times when those challenges seem insurmountable, you have to stop and think, wait a second. There's probably a simple lesson in here that I just have to learn, and once I get the simple lesson done, the rest of it will fall in place. Because sometimes the actual lesson is easy, but we subconsciously place extra baggage on there, extra obstacles that actually don't exist, but we put them because of our own preconceptions and our own previous knowledge of situations. So sometimes you have to break down and find out, wait a second, this major obstacle that came into my life from nowhere, it might have a simple, tiny little thing, little keystone that I can grab, study, learn better, and then eliminate the whole wall. And that's just why you don't really need to be surround yourself with spiritual people. You can have some spiritual people, that's good to have. But the non-spiritual people, the people who are not quite on the same spiritual path, can teach you more about yourself than those who totally agree with you. But that's only my idea, and I would welcome anyone else's thoughts. What's next?